Hi, my name is Dr. Fawn McNeil-Haber, and I'm the Clinical Director at Brave Mind Psychological Services in Scotch Plains, New Jersey. Today I want to talk to you about 6 reasons why meeting with a parent coach or child or adolescent therapist without your child can be helpful. So, maybe you have a preschooler that just won't listen, seems to want to do what they want to do all of the time, running amok around the house. Perhaps you have a middle schooler who's taken to arguing with you and yelling and declaring how things ought to be. Or perhaps you have a teen that seems to be getting more and more involved with what you believe is the wrong crowd. These are all great places if you find yourself beginning to spin in circles, or that you've been spinning in circles for a while, to connect, or as I like to call it, strategize with a child or adolescent therapist. And here are 6 reasons why. First, a child or adolescent therapist or child psychologist has knowledge about normal development. And this is really important because I think a lot of things that parents sometimes worry about are actually quite normal. And so this will give you some perspective on your child's behavior and whether it's something that's expected for their age. A preschooler trying to declare their independence and have their way, pretty normative. However, there are many things we can do to redirect that behavior in a more appropriate direction and ways to capitalize upon your parenting strategy in concert with what we know about normal preschool development. And the same with middle school and adolescents. Their brain is going through so much, and having this information can really help you take a step back from what you think they ought to be doing to helping them navigate these really complex transitions in life. Number 2 is they have seen so many different families. And what helps with seeing so many different families is getting a sense of not just what's normative, but what may be headed in a really troublesome direction. To give you some perspective on what behaviors might actually be really problematic that you may not realize are headed in that direction. They can also give you tips that this works for this kind of kid, this may not work with that kind of kid. Which really brings me to my next point, is that they know that every child's unique. And if you have more than one child, you get that too, just how different kids can be. However, sometimes it's really hard not to compare. It's hard to get out of the mindset of what worked with my older child. That worked really well. Why isn't it working with my younger child? And so when you strategize with a parent coach or a child therapist, it really helps you to reorient to your each child's unique strengths and the unique ways that you can reach them. Because it takes a lot of work to transition your parenting style, which is unique to you, to match with each child and their unique personality, their unique traits, their unique strengths and weaknesses. Number 4, they aren't there to judge you. Now, you may have a bunch of people in your village to help you raise your child. You might call your mom for some things like a high temperature when your child gets sick. You might call your girlfriend for other things when you need to vent and need to get her ideas about what she's done with her child. But sometimes those that are closest to you have very strong opinions, and it can be really hard to get a good view of what your values are and the way you want to do things with your child. And a parent coach can really help you sort through that. They have a whole bunch of knowledge about child development, about what the experts say about what you can do with kids, and they can take information about your values and what's important to you. And you know what? If you don't want to raise your parents the way your mom does, they're not offended. If you don't want to take their suggestion, they're not offended either, because it's really about coming up with what works for you and your unique child. Number 5, they can help you see your blind spots. Sometimes there are places that we just can't see that we're tripping over ourselves in raising our kids. Perhaps during our own upbringing, we had a rough relationship with a parent during the teenage years. And we work so hard to keep that from happening with our own teenagers that we may make more over normative attempts for your adolescent to pull away, that they're actually just doing what they're supposed to be doing at this time, and that isn't a sign that your relationship is going in the wrong direction. Or maybe you like things a certain way. You've always been kind of a neat, calm person, and your preschoolers just are not digging it. And your frustration is coming from that spot where you actually have a need. You need a space where you can be calm and orderly, as opposed to there being something wrong with your kids. And so a therapist will help you see your blind spots and what you might be missing and what you might need to work on, as opposed to your kids might need to work on. Finally, a parent coach can really help you model your values and the things you wish to give your kids to the best of your ability. For example, maybe one of your values is independence. It's really important for your kids to grow up so they can take care of themselves, so that they're not constantly asking for others to do things that they can do themselves. In the midst of that being an important value, you may also take a lot of control over the things that your kids do, have a lot of influence on them picking activities and how they do their homework, and helping find a way to see that sometimes that control can really undermine their independence, because part of developing independence is trying things out, doing things yourself, failing, and then rising back up and solving your own problems. And so a parent coach can really help you see, if you want independence, you may need to let go of control in certain areas. And so this is really important. So I hope I've given you some things to think about as far as how a child therapist or a parent coach can really help you strategize to be the best parent that you can be. Just to review, 1, they have knowledge of normative development. Number 2, they see a variety of families and kids and can really bring a variety of perspectives to you. Number 3, they know each child is unique and different. Number 4, they're not there to judge you. Number 5, they can help you see your blind spots. And finally, they can help you model the behavior that's most important to you, those things you value and that you feel are critical for your children to get. So if you think that this was helpful, I encourage you to share it. If not, come join us at bravemindsnj.com. We look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.